Greetings, traveler, and welcome back to the Lapis Kingdom. I am the Blue Regent, and today we're going to be doing quite a lot of stuff. The main focus of this episode is talking about surviving and not using the animals as a food source. So we've got a lot to talk about today, so if you're ready, saddle up and let's begin. We're going to talk a little bit about the basics of farming. So, if you have a stone hoe, or I have a stone hoe, but if you have any kind of hoe, if you right click on any ground, it will turn it into tilled dirt. Now, if you don't have a water source within, I believe it's 4 squares, if you give it a minute over time, give it a minute, it'll turn back to dirt. Okay, so anytime you till dirt, it will always turn back into dirt if you don't have if it's not irrigated, basically. Now, the nice thing about building a fence like this around it is it gives me the opportunity to bury some of my water sources. So now I've got a water source buried under here, which means that I can till dirt 1, 2, 3, 4 in that direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, I lose a little bit of space, but then also I can go, if it's under here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fill this in. This will stay tilled. That's the nice thing about having the water source. Now, another thing about tilled dirt is if you jump on it or fall on it from too high, it will turn it back to dirt. Okay, so we kind of want to make sure that we always have some sort of way. If there is an elevation change, we want to make sure that we can get up there get up and down without affecting the dirt below. So I'm going to throw in some stairs right here. I can also use this spot under here as another place to have a water source. You can put half slabs and stairs. You can have them saturated. So in other words, if I put this half slab at the top or the bottom, this water source will stay here. So I can throw this here, put these stairs here just like this. Now you can't see the water source, but all this will still stay irrigated. I've got some wheat seeds here, I have some carrots, and I have some potatoes, because these are going to be the main crops that I'm using on these farms, and that's because I'm going to use carrots for feeding the pigs, I'm going to use the wheat for the most part for breeding the cows, and then potatoes for now I'm using as a food source for myself for baked potatoes. So if you don't know how farming works in this game as far as planting stuff goes, I'm basically going to select what I'm going to use to plant. So right now it's wheat seeds, and I'm just going to start right-clicking on any tilled dirt, and that is going to that's going to plant the seeds for that. And then it works the exact same for potatoes. So potatoes are the seed. So I'll just right-click on any tilled earth. Carrots, same thing. And then over time, these will grow, and they'll actually start to look different as they're growing. There's a creeper hanging out over there. I'm not sure what that's about. But as you can see, I don't quite have enough seeds and potatoes and carrots to get everything planted. But that's okay, because every time I harvest everything that grows, I'm going to get seeds from every wheat square. I'm going to get more than 1 carrot from every square and more than 1 potato. I went and got my bow to do something about this creeper, and now I can't find it, and that only has me extremely stressed out. So now I can wait, and I can go work on projects and everything else. You know, we all know that I have plenty of stuff to work on, but let's say maybe you don't have a lot of time, or maybe you're low on food and you need it now. If you have bones, like I do, you can throw them in your crafting spot. They only take up 1 square, and you get 3 bone meal for each bone. And I can use bone meal on my crops, and that will help them grow faster. So I can go through if I want to and use up all of this bone meal to make all of this stuff grow faster, which I don't really need to. I just need to kind of pick up the pace on a couple of these things a little bit. And so I have 2 fully grown things of wheat, 4 fully grown potatoes, and 1 fully grown carrot. So if I hit these carrots, it drops 3 carrots. So now I can plant three spots. Each of these potatoes drops multiple potatoes. Each of these wheat spots drops multiple seeds, which means that increases the amount that I can plant. Now, if you remember on the very first or second episode, this is like the makeshift wheat field that I had set up for myself. If you're looking to use bread, which is what you make from wheat, as your main food source, this is a great way to start because I don't have to worry about, making buckets and digging holes and putting water sources in places because I'm set up near a river. Now, it doesn't have to be a river. Like in our cow pasture over there, there's a lake or a pond, I guess. You can use that. Anytime there's 1 square of water, I can till 4 squares out. Now, obviously, this whole thing is touching water, so I could go 4 back from the edge of the river with every single row if I wanted to. Now, obviously, this is a pretty decent amount of wheat to start with, and I'm not going to need this anymore, so I'm actually going to gather all this, and this can ultimately be used for something else, but I'm going to gather all this, use the seeds to plant in our newer, bigger wheat field, and collect all this wheat, which will probably be used to... Is this squid stuck on the... Are you stuck? I always feel bad killing the squids for their ink sacs, but if they get stuck and die on their own, I just, that's just nature, I guess. That's square nature. There you are. Where are you coming from? It doesn't matter. You've got to go. You can't be here. You've got to go. As far as other non-pixelated meat food products, a good option anytime you are anywhere near a large body of water, basically anything that it considers like the ocean, and that can sometimes be a really large lake, kelp is a thing that you can gather, replant pretty easily, and is a pretty great food source. So I'm going to grab all this stuff real quick. Did I get it all? It looks like I did. And I'll throw half of this in here. I can throw half of this in here, and this will make dried kelp, which again is a food item, and I don't have to kill any little square chickens or little square cows or little square sheep, and I can eat this, and it doesn't replace a ton of food, and so that's kind of the problem with it. It's not really the best food source, in my opinion. However, it's pretty easy to replant, and I can actually, if I don't want to have to swim into the ocean to get it, I can take advantage of my cow pasture, and now I have a little kelp farm in here. So again, I can take some of this, and as you can see down at the bottom, it replaces a little bit of food, so it's not, it's not as hearty as something like a baked potato, but it is a food source. It will keep you from starving in the game, and it's a renewable food source. It's a pretty easy farm to set up. I'm going to come grab this. It's a pretty easy farm to set up. You don't have to do any tilling. It's just situational because you need to find a body of water big enough that is going to have kelp naturally growing in it. Another food source that spawns naturally that's pretty easy to get going as far as a farm goes is the sweet berries. And so I can come up and right-click any plant that has berries on it, and you can tell this is a plant without berries, this is a plant with berries. And I will get a small amount of berries in my inventory. Now, just like the kelp, these don't really fill up. That doesn't really help because I only had one food spot. But these don't really fill up a ton of hunger for you. But the nice thing is you don't have to cook them. All you can have to do is go up, right click, pick it up, and there's food. So it doesn't require a furnace. It doesn't require coal. It doesn't require any special steps. The problem with it is it spawns really only in taiga biomes, and the bushes themselves can do damage to you. So you can get hurt trying to gather them, which can be dangerous, especially in your first like Minecraft day or two. And they don't produce a ton of food, and so if you're not careful, you can actually do more harm than good trying to pick them. I can put these literally anywhere just by right-clicking on the ground, and they will start new plants. And so I could like eat half of what I just picked and plant the other half, and kind of keep doing that cycle. And if you notice, they start to regrow the berries on them pretty quickly, so I can get a pretty strong base as far as food production goes pretty quickly. You just have to eat pretty often if sweet berries are going to be your only food source. This sweet berry farm right here, this is what I set up when I first found the village. This is made only from berries that I found while running here, and then from that berry patch over by that house over there. So this didn't require much to make, and if you look now, every single one of these produces berries. So I can get a pretty substantial amount of berries pretty quickly from these without a ton of gathering needing to happen. And the nice thing about these is this is basically a block too. So once you get out of needing berries to survive, they quickly can become a decoration for you. So the next non-meat food items we're going to talk about are going to require us to go on a little bit of a trip. There is a dark oak biome over here, and there's jungle biome over here. And both of these places also have things that naturally spawn in them. Plus, if you remember from a couple episodes ago, there's a village back there. So we're going to go on a little trip. So I'm going to put down my crafting table. I'm going to make us a boat. And I can do this starting in either row, but all I need is 5 of any kind of one type of plank block to make a boat. And the reason that I need them to be of one type is because if it's all spruce, it'll be a spruce boat. If it's all oak, it'll be an all oak boat, and so on. So I'm gonna throw this boat in the water, right click on the boat, and we're gonna do a little traveling here. So here we go. Now, if fishing is a thing that you don't mind doing in this game, you can also fish while you're in a boat, which is kind of fun to do. It's also just kind of, it's adorable to just kind of have your little Minecraft character hanging out in a boat, doing a little fishing, and I just think it's kind of cute. First of all, there's a lot of animals here. I'm gonna have to remember that. Second of all, do you see these huge weird things? These are giant mushrooms, and giant mushrooms. I gotta be careful. I wasn't very smart. I didn't wear any armor coming out here. But giant mushrooms, if you break the blocks, will occasionally drop. This game's gonna make a fool out of me. Will occasionally drop. The big red ones will occasionally drop a red mushroom, which you can plant to make more big mushrooms. Well, I can do a couple things with these. I can plant one of these in a shaded area, and this will now continue to grow more of these in the shaded area. So that's one way that I can get more mushrooms. You can also use bone meal. I'm so nervous walking around in the dark right now. I have no idea why I didn't put any armor on or anything. You can also use bone meal to grow it into another large mushroom. And then these right here, these brown mushrooms, again, if I break it, they'll randomly drop a brown mushroom. And again, I can plant these in a dark area, and they will start to spread on the ground. They kind of do like a creeping spread on their own over time. And there are block types that you can use that you don't need them to be in the shade. And you can only gather those with like a silk touch shovel. So that's kind of the trick to those. So really early on, the easiest way to, if you want to just set up like a basic mushroom farm, use a real dark biome like this, like a dark oak biome, or you can just set up shaded areas in like a mine somewhere and have that be your mushroom farm. But now that I've got these mushrooms, I can make some bowls. And if I remember right, so there I get a mushroom stew. So 2 mushroom, 1 red mushroom, 1 brown mushroom, and a bowl, and I get a mushroom stew. And you can set it up, so I set it up in a row, but you can set it up like this. So it's a pretty fluid recipe, and that is another type of like vegetarian, vegan style food source in the game. You don't have to find a dark oak biome. Mushrooms do spawn in a lot of the biomes, a lot of the different biomes in the game. Both the small or the large versions back. We're about to take a detour. The large versions back there, those spawn in the dark oak biomes, but the smaller versions that you get from the large mushrooms, those will spawn. They kind of spawn in most biomes that are shaded enough for them to spawn in. You also find them underground sometimes. But here's a ruined nether portal, which this is one of the randomly generating structures that happens now in 1.16. So let's see what's in this treasure chest. Golden sword with knockback 2, that's neat. Golden axe with fortune, that's weird. A golden pickaxe with mending, that's kind of cool. And boots with depth strider, that's also neat. Some fire charges, which you can use to make stuff. 2 golden apples, which are a food source and a really, really good food source. And you can also use them for other things later. That's cool. So I can't mine any of this obsidian yet because I don't have a diamond pickaxe. But this is important to remember that this is here. And I'm going to maintain, once again, that this is the best Minecraft seed I've ever spawned on. And I have no one to thank but you, because I think that you are my good luck charm. So I'm taking a huge gamble, and I'm trying to cross back across this bay here to get to this village and get a bed put down before the sun goes completely down. And if you're wondering, no, I don't have any more armor on than I did when I was in the dark oak biome, because I like to live dangerously, apparently. So we're going to see how quickly I can get over there. Look at that. And it's like they got like a little dock here for us. That's kind of handy. Oh, yeah. Look at this awesome road generation here. Nailed it, Minecraft. You did it. You weird game. Can I... Hello? Are you okay? You got it. I believe in you. So, if you are looking to... More sweet berries. If you are looking to survive in Minecraft, raiding a village is almost always a guaranteed way to get all sorts of stuff. You can get a bed, you can get a crafting table usually there's furnaces or blast furnaces. The tricky thing about that is you have to find a village first. And if you've never played Minecraft and you've been watching me play this, you probably have a semi-skewed concept of how easy it is to find villages in this game. Sometimes I play this and I'll play for game days and game days. Oh, heck yes. And time will pass, and I just actually shh, don't tell whoever lives here that I just did that. Game days will pass, and you just won't find a village, and it's annoying if it's what you're looking for. I'm usually glad because, again, my trend of them just dying every single way that a villager can die in Minecraft. Oops. And I just can't prevent it. And so I'm usually not mad about not finding a village until later on when I have a lot of backed up resources and I'm looking for a way to get rid of them. Do I want all of this? I do want these pumpkin seeds. Do I want the rest of this? No. That. Now, pumpkins are another type of crop. They generate kind of randomly all over the game. and you farm those too, but their farms work. What are you doing? What are you doing? So this is a pumpkin sprout, I guess, for lack of a better word. Melons and pumpkins both grow the same way. They need at least one clear block next to them, because what will end up happening, this will grow up into a vine, and then it'll actually place the pumpkin? It'll place the pumpkin in the block next to them. And it can actually do that in any of the immediately adjacent squares, blocks, as long as it's free to grow it in. So you kind of have to be a little strategic about how you grow pumpkins. The other reason that we're not talking about setting up a pumpkin farm in here is because pumpkins on their own aren't a food item. You need other stuff to make them into a food item, and what you can make is a pumpkin pie. And now that I've got some pumpkin... Hello? You leave these nice people alone. Thank you. You're welcome, everybody. Don't mind me as I just continuously steal from these people. Do I feel bad about it? I don't know. I don't know. But pumpkins, you can use... you can make pumpkin pie with them, which is a pretty good food source. But the focus of this is not using... The focus of this episode is not using Minecraft animals at all for food source. And so if that's part of your goal, pumpkins aren't... They're just not going to have any use for you. Now, you can grow them to have them as a building block. That's a thing you can do. Is there anything in here? Do I want this? Thank you. Thank you again. I've been stealing that flower pot. And I'm going to steal this iron. It's taxes. Hello everyone, I am the tax collector. I'm collecting your taxes, and the taxes I want are your stone cutter and your flower pots and your pumpkin pie. Oh, hello. Okay, whatever. I'm probably going to come back and terraform this place at some point and make it make more sense. Did I raid every house? I hope I did. I'm probably going to come back and raid this place. Oh, I got to go up there. Or terraform this place more at a later date, because I want all this sand. Said almost no one in Minecraft ever, but I'm going to want it. I have plans. Sand plans. Okay, I'm up here. Do you have anything in your house? Nothing. Nothing? You don't have anything in your house? And you don't do anything. Okay, well that's fine. I got a lot of cool stuff. I've got these empty maps. That's handy. I got this flower pot so I can decorate my house. I got this stone cutter, which will be good for decorating, or for getting more mileage out of our stone blocks. It's the fastest way to get down here. I just got to make sure I hit the water. That's the trick. Whee! So the stone cutter will be good for making, getting more mileage out of any stone blocks that we need. Yeah, we don't want all this sand. That drowned is mad. Okay, well, I don't know what I did to upset you. But I'm going to want all this sand so that I can make sandstone to pretty up our houses when we get that far. Farewell, Weird Village. Thank you for paying your taxes to that village over there. And now we're going to head over to this jungle biome for the last of the randomly generating vegetarian food sources. And if you've been watching this video or this series the entire time, you've seen me gather these before, and that's the melons. The melons grow mainly in the jungle, if not only in the jungle. And we also are going to be looking for cocoa seeds, cocoa pods, so that we can ultimately make cookies, which is another food source. And both of those things grow in the jungle, and I actually need jungle wood to grow the cocoa pods. And once again, I am being really daring about how late in the day I'm doing all this. Hello, turtle. We're going on a hunt for melons. Okay, so that's cool. So here are the cocoa beans, seeds, and from that they drop cocoa beans, cocoa pod, and they grow on jungle wood. So I can actually gather some of this, and I have some of this at home, but we're just going to gather some more because we're going to want more. And I will gather some jungle wood while we're here, but that's not quite the focus right now. We're looking for melons. Heading deeper into the jungle here, and yeah, it makes me nervous. I don't know why I get so nervous sometimes in this game, but I get a little nervous, and it's a little stressful. Jungles are neat biomes, and actually I have to tell you, I've spent next to no time in jungles in this game because for some reason I can't ever find them when I can't ever find them when I play this by myself, but we spawned in one on the seed and they're like all over the place. So I can gather these melons, and unlike the pumpkin, a melon slice is what you get when you gather a melon. So pumpkins are just always a block. Melons turn into melon slices, and they are immediately something you can eat. Just like most of this other stuff, it's not the most saturating food source, which is kind of unfortunate. But you know, it's something you can plant, and the way that you plant them is I just put one melon slice in my crafting in like a crafting square, and it'll produce seeds. Pumpkins, one way that you can get pumpkin seeds is you can put a pumpkin and you get pumpkin seeds from that. Jungle saplings are kind of a rare item. They don't drop that frequently. And like I said, I don't spend a lot of time in jungles. I spent more time in jungles on this seed than I ever have in this game. Is this really not gonna... Just one sapling. That's all I need. I don't spend a lot of time in jungles, and I'd like to spend more time in them, but I'm completely a rookie when it comes to them, as far as like I've never seen a jungle temple, which is weird. That's a weird thing to me. I mean, I've seen them, like I've seen people go in them on Let's Plays and stuff, but I've never gone in a jungle temple before. I have no idea. Yes! Jungle sapling. I'm going to take that. We're going to plant it back at home. But yeah, I've never been in a jungle temple. I've never explored in them. I have no idea how to figure out all the traps and stuff in there. So I'm kind of hoping in this Let's Play we find one. The last thing that we're going to do is we're in our warehouse now. We're going to talk about what to do with what happens when we start getting too many seeds. As you can see, our wheat field over here is starting to fill in. And so ultimately I'm going to harvest that, and I'm going to plant out more of those seeds. Now, I can use seeds to breed chickens. So if you have a chicken farm, that's good. But you're ultimately going to just have too many seeds. Now, if you're trying to build big decorative farms, you're always going to need more seeds. But again, as long as you have a source of bone meal, you know, you can speed up the rate at which everything's growing. Now, I have a skeleton farm. If you saw the episode where we built our skeleton spawner farm, you know, bone can be used to make bone meal, but bone can also be used to make bone blocks, which are a building block. Because we're doing a building series, I want to hold on to as many possible blocks as I can, and block generation and getting my hand on building materials is kind of important. So I'm going to want another source for bone meal. This is a pretty simple bone meal generator. And so how I'm going to do this, how I want this to work, is ultimately all these rooms are going to be decorated with barrels. So I'm going to put a barrel right here, hopper going into it, and you can tell it's going into it because this little tail part is going into the barrel. I'm going to put a barrel right here, and we'll talk about in a second what the point of that is. I'm going to come down here, put another hopper here. I'm going to put a treasure chest or a chest here, and then I want one more hopper going into this chest. So I've got this barrel going into this barrel, which then goes into this composter, which then goes into this chest. So I've got this room decorated a little bit better, and I can open this up. And I like using trapdoors to kind of look like barrel tops. And I can pop it open, and if you look down here, got a ladder going down. I have to dig that out a little bit better. Throw this in here. Maybe put some torches in here so stuff doesn't try to spawn. And I've just got a real basic storage area. Throw another chest in here for ultimately what's going to go here. So now I've got a lot of, can I get out of here? Yeah, I can. I've got a lot of seeds. And so the way that this works, if I set everything up right, I can throw all my seeds in this top barrel. They'll throw them down into this barrel, which will then turn around and via the hoppers, put them in, I don't know if we can see it, put them in this composter. And every time a seed goes in a composter, wow, it's going to make me sick. Every time a seed goes in a composter, it has a certain % chance of increasing a level. And once this fills up completely, it turns into bone meal, which then we'll put it in this hopper and put it in this chest. And so now all of my excess seeds that I ever have from my wheat farm can go in here, and I basically can walk away, and this will continue to just make bone meal. So now every time I harvest my wheat, if I want to, any seeds that I don't need for replanting, I can then turn around and throw in there. And that's not the only thing that can go in there. Basically anything that would be considered organic can go in there. So flowers, if you use shears to cut grass, if you gather the leaves, all that stuff can go in there. But the nice thing about that is you can clear up a ton of space in your inventory that's being taken up by seeds real quickly. And all you have to do is just move them into a different chest. And now my bones that I get from my skeleton farm can be used specifically for crafting other building blocks. I know this is kind of a long video, but we had a lot to talk about today, and now we've got our farm set up for our cows and pigs. We got our farm set up for us. Plus, we have our bone meal generator set up. If you want a little more information about those, both Avamonts and Waddles have videos where they go pretty in-depth on making those and how they work and all of that. But that is going to be it for today. I look forward to seeing you next time in the Lapis Kingdom. Have a great day.